Hey there, it's been a while since I touched base with you guys. But I was sitting here eating a bagel at a really cute shop downtown where I work, and I was spending some time with the Lord and processing with Him how hard it is when I make mistakes at work or when I make mistakes in general. I just get really in my head, and I can't really I can't get off of the cycle of just kind of like, oh my gosh, you're making these mistakes, you're not good enough, you're not worth it, you're not whatever it may be. And on the drive in this morning, I was listening to Matthew, and Jesus says this, he tells this parable, and it's pretty well known. It's about this master who had a servant who was indebted to him significantly. He owed him so much money. But the servant came to him and he was like, please, will you forgive this debt? And the master was moved by it and said, yes, your debts are forgiven. But then that same servant had a coworker or something that owed him money. And he was like, you have to pay me back all this money. And then he imprisoned him when he couldn't. And eventually the master heard of this servant who he had forgiven, not forgiving a different servant who was indebted to him. And he was enraged. He was like, how could you do this when I forgave you so much and you couldn't forgive him just a little bit? And then he imprisoned him, whatever. And then Jesus basically is like, I have forgiven you, thus you need to forgive other people. And that's part of the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. It's a huge heartbeat of the Lord's. And I think just this morning I realized that in that scenario, a lot of the time, I recognize that the Lord has forgiven me, and I'm like, great, whatever. Nothing else is relevant to my life at the moment. But today I realized that I'm both servants, that I am the servant who receives the master's forgiveness, that I have received Jesus' forgiveness for everything that I've done, and it's been monumental. It's every sin I've ever committed. It's every unholy thing that I've ever done. It's everything that's ever separated from me from Him. He's forgiven, and He always will, and it's huge. But then I'm the servant who's forgiven, who holds the other servant by the neck, saying, you are indebted to me in this imperfection or in this mistake. I imprison myself because I won't forgive myself. And that totally breaks the Lord's heart. That I can both be forgiven and yet not forgive myself. I gotta work through that. I don't know how it'll go. My prayer this morning is that the Lord would set this prisoner free. And I hope that He does, and I know that He will. I just know that probably means a lot more work and time and patience and honesty than I'm probably ready for, but it'll be good. Anyway, so if you relate to this, I hope that it's touched you. And live in the freedom that you've been given and in the forgiveness of the Father. Jesus loves you, and He wants you to forgive yourself too, as well as others, All right, have a good day.